On the most beautiful day of her life, a young bride did the unthinkable. She insulted her own mother before the entire village. But when her proud words echoed through the crowd, her groom did something so shocking that the celebration turned into a lesson no one would ever forget. This is the story of Bride Insulted Her Mother on Wedding Day. What the groom did next shocked everyone. Amora was the most beautiful girl in her village. Everyone admired her for her charm and smile, but deep inside, she carried pride that many people whispered about. She had been chosen by a wealthy man from another town, and her wedding day was the talk of the entire community. Her mother, Mama Ifeoma, was a humble woman who had raised her alone after her father died. She worked hard selling firewood and palm oil just to make sure Amora had food and clothes. But as the big day arrived, Amora began to see her mother as a shame to her new wealthy status. On the morning of the wedding, villagers gathered with drums, songs, and laughter. The compound was filled with the smell of food and the sound of women cooking in large pots. The atmosphere was joyful, and Mama Ifeoma wore her best wrapper, even though it was old and faded. When Amora saw her mother in that wrapper, she frowned. She whispered to her bridesmaids that her mother looked like a beggar. The girls laughed, but Mama Ifeoma overheard the words. She held back her tears, pretending not to care, but her heart broke deeply. As the time came for blessings, Mama Ifeoma stepped forward to pray for her daughter. She lifted her hands to speak, but before she could finish, Amora shouted, "Stop! You embarrass me with your dirty clothes. Please go and sit down." The crowd gasped. The drummers stopped. Silence filled the air. Mothers shook their heads, and elders looked away in shame. But Mama Ifeoma quietly walked back to her chair, her shoulders bent like a broken branch. The groom, Obinna, had watched everything silently. He loved Amora, but he also believed that marriage was not just about beauty, it was about respect and honor. The insult to her mother troubled his spirit. He stood still for a long time, his face expressionless. Then he ordered the music to continue. Everyone thought he was ignoring what had happened, but in his heart, he was already planning something that would change the entire ceremony. The celebration moved forward, though the insult hung in the air like a dark cloud. People ate and drank, but whispers filled the compound. "How can a daughter shame her mother before everyone?" the elders murmured. Amora danced happily, pretending nothing had happened. She enjoyed the praises, the gifts, and the admiration from the crowd. She did not notice that her groom had become unusually quiet, watching her every move. When it was time for the couple to be blessed together, Obinna raised his hand. He said, "Before we continue, I want to honor the most important woman here." Everyone thought he meant Amora, but instead, he walked toward Mama Ifeoma. The villagers held their breath. He gently lifted the old woman from her chair and brought her to the center of the gathering. "This woman gave me the greatest gift," he said. "Without her, there would be no bride today." Obinna turned to the crowd and declared, "If my bride cannot honor her mother, then she is not ready to be my wife." The place exploded with shock. Amora froze, her smile disappearing as fast as lightning. The elders nodded in agreement, saying, "He has spoken wisdom." Some women clapped their hands, while others wept for Mama Ifeoma. Amora tried to protest, but her words got lost in the loud voices of the villagers. Amora fell to her knees, begging her mother for forgiveness. She cried, holding her wrapper, calling her, "Mama, Mama, please forgive me." But Mama Ifeoma was silent, tears running down her cheeks. She never thought her daughter would bow down in shame before the entire village. The guests watched closely. Some pitied Amora, but many believed it was a lesson she needed to learn. Pride, they said, can destroy even the happiest day. Despite her pain, Mama Ifeoma lifted her daughter up. She wiped her tears and said, "My child, I forgive you. But never forget, a mother's blessing is greater than gold, and a mother's curse is heavier than a stone." The words sank into everyone's heart. Even Obina's eyes grew wet. He knew this was a moment that would be remembered for generations to come. Obina faced the crowd once more. "I will marry Amara today," he said, "but only because her mother has forgiven her. From this day forward, any insult to Mama Ifeoma will be the end of our union." The drums began again, this time louder than before. People cheered, not for Amara's beauty, but for the wisdom shown that day. The wedding continued, but Amara learned a lesson that would follow her for the rest of her life. Without respect for family, no celebration is complete.